Hey dudes, it's Larold. Expedition is secretly very good, and I'm just going to go ahead and start right off the bat with the sales pitch on why. First off, it's really fast. It spawns a bunch of high value rare monsters in your maps that drop good amounts of raw currency along with logbooks, and the worthless artifact fragments that they love to throw at you as well. The monsters are all confined to a single space, so it doesn't require you to be fast or off-screen everything like Breach does. Volatile pods won't chase you around constantly like Ritual. It doesn't require an open map like Breach or Ritual does. And it doesn't make the game hideous or cook your graphics card like Delirium. So like I said, Expedition is super underrated. So about a week ago, we put out a video about farming Expedition logbooks and how that is a great low-cost strategy. And it was. But now people are trying to farm all raw splinters, so the cost of logbooks is going up. We always like to triangulate towards a cheap, fast strategy whenever possible, and this is exactly that. There's a gold rush, it's time to sell shovels. So instead of farming Expedition logbooks, we're going to be farming Expedition logbooks. So let's get into it, but first be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, join our Discord as well. We're over 1,300 members now and still growing strong. Okay, so I'm just going to start with an overview on the strategy. Already did the sales pitch, now I'm just going to kind of talk about some of the other big positives here. First off, this is a cheap strategy. We are using a unique tablet that costs, at the time of recording, 1 exalt apiece, even in bulk, to make this work. It's basically free because people incorrectly think it is garbage. I assure you it is wildly undervalued. This is also a fast mapping strategy, so if you're clearing through these maps at a reasonable pace, you can blast through 15 to 20 maps an hour, maybe more if you're a real blaster. And that means a lot more opportunities to find abyssal depths or dark depths, whatever it's called, and get valuable omens, get access keys to the abyss boss. You know, it means a lot more zooming around finding citadels. Speed is really the key here. Also, the strategy does not require tower overlaps, so it's a really good strategy to use in bad areas of the Atlas. This is something that you can, do for a little bit, and go do something else for a little bit, kind of bounce back and forth. You know, do this when you're in a bad area that has no tower overlaps, and then when you get to a really juicy area, that's where you load up your big, multiple overlapping tablets, towers, breach setups. And so getting right into what makes this strategy work, it is this tablet, Forgotten by Time. It makes it so that all the expedition monsters in your map spawn with half their life missing, which doesn't really matter, but it also makes them be duplicated. So this is probably the most valuable remnant modifier that you can get in mapping. I mean it is, right? You get twice as many monsters for the rest of the explosions after that runic monster duplication, and this just makes it be baseline for all the expeditions. So you're getting twice as many monsters, they have half as much health, which means if you're playing a build that has some sort of built-in clear, Herald of Plague, Herald of Blood, Pathfinder, Herald of Ice, any of the various heralds, you're going to have a really easy time clearing. It'll actually be faster to clear because there are more monsters to kill, and also, it doesn't hurt that they have less life, right? And then you kind of have some other options as to what you want to run for your other tablets. So these, like I said, these are 1 exalt in bulk. There are 10,000 of these. Even if we go all the way up to 18 maps in range contained in Expedition, they're 2 or 3 exalts. That's for a perfect roll on a unique tablet. You can buy hundreds of these with bad rolls on them for 1 exalt each, and then just throw another Expedition tablet in there as well. And there's one really good mod that you can find on Expedition logbook tablets that is shockingly cheap, and that is quantity of Expedition logbooks. If you go after this mod, 2 exalts, and that's assuming it doesn't have quantity on the prefix, which is the preferred, right? That's the ideal. The best option for a prefix on any tablet is going to be quantity, and that is the downside of running any unique tablet, is you're losing 5, 7, whatever % quantity on the map. It's worth it in this case because we're doing Expedition, but you can very easily, especially if you're buying these on the cheaper end where you're only getting 12 maps or whatever, you can just run another Expedition tablet as well. This is kind of the right approach to do any kind of strategy, really. It's fun to do Expedition and Ritual and Breach. It's something I've played around with for a while, but those maps take a long time. They might be 6 or 7 minutes, and you're not really getting as much stuff per minute, per hour. My time is divided up into minutes and seconds, not maps, right? So ultimately, I think it's better to just kind of double down, just do 2 Expedition tablets. You do Forgotten by Time, and then another one with either a decent modifier like Explosive Radius and then the good prefix of Quant, or you could just do whatever prefix and get more Expedition logbooks dropped by the monsters. I kind of like that strategy more. Now, you can just do a third one of these, right? You could just triple down and just go all the way in, or if you want to maybe balance things out a little bit, you could throw in just like a regular precursor tablet with some quantity, irradiated maps, and then you'll have higher level maps. The logbooks will be higher, the monsters will be higher, all the bases will drop a little bit higher, get a little bit more currency from the regular monsters that exist throughout the maps by doing that. So that's the approach I've been taking. A Forgotten by Time, an expedition logbook with, or tablet rather, with good mods on it, and then a regular precursor tablet with some quant. So that's tablets. Now let's talk a little bit about the passive tree. So Expedition is a little bit different from Breach and Ritual and Delirium in the way that you want to set up your passive tree. Like, technically speaking, this is a base passive tree here, right? 29 points. This is what you're looking for. You're getting all the item rarity out of the tree you can. You're getting all the item quantity out of the tree that you can. You know, these 4 points, and then these bits of rarity here. And you're getting more rare monsters out of Rising Danger, Twin Threats, this stuff over here. And then most importantly, you're getting all the tablet effect out of these mods up here in the kind of upper third of the tree. Then there are 2 really efficient points in terms of scaling explicit map modifier, and that would be Grueling Journey and Unstable Energies. These do help a lot in terms of scaling up the map mod effect, which then has like a positive scaling effect of like, you know, whatever mods you have on your map. If you have a bunch of rarity on your map, that's obviously going to be good. Rarity modifiers are better than like magic or pack size modifiers for the most part. But pack size is actually pretty good in Expedition because it does scale up the number of runic monsters that will be in the ground in the expeditions in your maps. Like I said, this is kind of the standard 29 points that people play with, and then you kind of have some options. If you really want to do just like regular juicing, you'll take all the Waystone mod effect. It's kind of boring, and it's not super impactful unless you are going for like super high rarity on all of your maps. Then it'll have a decent amount of value, but it's not huge. What I'm doing instead, because I think it has a little bit more value for Expedition, is I'm just doing pack size scaling. So I'm taking every single one of the pack size nodes around the tree, and this is the one that'll be in the description of the video. It'll be linked down there. But this is the setup that we're going with here, right? You know, maximum pack size, as much as we can get every single pack size node on the entire tree, all of the small passives. You know, the magic pack size stuff doesn't hurt. Get a couple extra monster packs out of these 2 bonuses here. And then we're still getting the efficient Waystone mod effect scaling bonuses out of Unstable Energies and Grueling Journey. We still have a reason to go 6 mods on all the maps. You don't have to, you know, if you want to play a little safer, you can do 4 or 5, but we're going with 6 mods on every single map. And this is the setup that we're going with. And the upside of doing this like pack size scaling is you do get a lot more XP this way, and then again, if you're playing like a Herald of whatever build that clears efficiently by having more monsters around, or even if you just have bonuses like life or mana on kill, you have a lot more monsters to kill and get back that mana or chain explosions together. So, you know, this kind of feels better than map mod effect scaling, in my opinion. And just to take a look at it here, we're getting what, 30% pack size. That applies to magic rare and normal packs, and then another 20% magic pack size. So, you know, pretty good, not too bad. Then over here in the Expedition tree, you absolutely want your first 2 points to be Disturbed Rest. This is more runic monster markers. This means more chances at logbooks, more chances at stuff from the expeditions, and then Detailed Records means +1 to level of the logbooks, and they'll always have 4 implicit modifiers. By default, they roll with 2, maybe 3, but you'll always get 4, which is great. It makes the logbooks way more valuable, makes people way more interested in buying them. Then you kind of have an option for your other 2 points, and of course you unlock all of these points. The first 2 you get just like by doing Expedition in the campaign in Act 4. The rest you get from killing Olroth. He's a pretty easy boss fight. He seems like the easiest of the Pinnacle bosses, probably. Did him deathless every time, you know. Pretty good fight, but just not actually that, like, difficult. He doesn't have a lot of one-shot mechanics, right? You know, it's a lot of reaction time. So the issue with going with the top chain here is that time detonations is just like a totally terrible node. And then the second node here, Legendary Battles, 50% increased number of rare monsters in your expeditions. This is really good, but that's kind of all you get out of 4 points. Kind of a bummer. The issue is that Frail Treasures is like actively bad. Like this is worse than not having points, and Extreme Archaeology in PoE 2 just isn't very large. It really just isn't very good. I wish it were, but it's not. So that kind of leaves you either you can take the easy, okay version of going with legendary battles, getting more worthless artifacts and getting more pretty close to worthless exotic coinage, or you can go with Weight of History, which makes all the remnants much more rewarding and more difficult, and then you can take Unearthed Anomalies, and that doubles it, Diablo 3 style. So this is the better approach. This is an approach that we've been going with, taking the bottom branch here, but it is more dangerous. So if you're still a little iffy, just go with the top branch. It's totally safe. If you want to push for more currency, more reward, more logbooks, obviously, bottom branch is definitely going to do better. All right, so now I'm going to wrap up by just running a map and getting to the expedition and kind of walking through doing the expedition in the map and showing how it goes. All right, so conveniently, this expedition was right inside the map, which is great. That is the thing that's really nice about expeditions is, generally speaking, they're pretty easy to find. In doing this for several hours, I've only had one time where I actually had to look around for a while to find the expedition, and that was kind of a funky map. I think it was based on one of the intermission zones, so, a little bit funky. So once you get to the logbook, clear out a little bit. You don't want to get killed trying to, set up your explosion chains or anything like that. So what you're going to want to look for is really you're going to look for things that you can't handle. This build is playing chaos or poison damage, so it does physical and chaos. I don't see anything that makes any of the monsters immune to physical or chaos, so that's good. I do see this mod here, hits can't be crits. So this is a crit-based build, so that's kind of a bummer. It is increased quantity of expedition logbooks is by far the best reward that you can get from any of the remnants. So that is kind of unfortunate to have a pretty bad mod on a otherwise good remnant. I think I may still wind up hitting that bonus there just because I really like logbooks. So ultimately, what you want to do is you want to look around for all the remnants that say quantity of expedition logbooks, and as long as they're doable, you want to hit those early in the explosion chain, and then just make your way around and try and get any monster markers, any good, the large chest markers as well are important, but really you're just looking for as many monster markers, treasure chest markers as you can get. Anything that gives increased quantity or quantity of logbooks is what you're looking for. Let's go ahead and pop it off, and we'll see what happens. And I will say that in my experience, logbooks tend to drop kind of in bunches. I probably won't get any logbooks now that I'm recording here. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. So there aren't any mods that say that treasure chests drop more logbooks. That isn't a thing that exists in the game, and it seems to me that getting the monsters drop more logbooks seems like it affects treasure chests. Could be the placebo effect, but I did just take two remnants that gave more logbooks from monsters and then immediately got a logbook from a chest. So I've had that happen quite a lot in doing this, so it kind of seems like that might apply to chests, even though it doesn't say that it does. I don't know. There's not really a way to prove the negative, right? So it kind of is what it is. Ultimately, it's a good remnant mod, and getting chests in your expeditions is also good. So anyways, that logbook dropped. Looks like a pretty good one. That's 50 exalts right there. That's a pretty good haul for the very small amount of time it took to actually do this expedition. And that is Expedition. It is so underrated, and the best part of it is that if the pendulum swings back in the other direction in favor of running logbooks because they get flooded and they're super cheap, you can just do that too. They're great to run, they're great to sell. Expedition is just very good. Alright, that's it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and join the Skipping Sleep Studio Discord and become part of our community. And finally, thank you to all of our channel members. If you want to support us so we can keep making more PoE content, become a channel member, or come boost the Discord. Thanks for watching. Bye.